Hey everyone, it's Tom Seymour from VHS Massacre. Thanks for joining me today. We're going to run down certain things, some new updates with VHS Massacre films, some of our older films, plus we're going to talk about film festival stuff. One of the cool things is I just got this cool new webcam called the OBSBot Meet 2, and it's got some AI elements in that will let you... that will track the camera around and stuff like that. So hopefully the camera's moving and I'm not just an idiot leaning left and right. But yeah, the OBSBot Meet 2, I think it's about $100 now, and it's not quite the top of the line. The top of the line has a full gimbal on it that will kind of follow you around the room, which is pretty crazy. So if you were doing a show that was more active, you had more of a set, you could actually just have this thing and it would follow you around and do all this cool stuff. So I don't know if you can see some of these arcade machines over here. Probably not. Anyway, so I would check it out. And the other thing with these the OBSBot Meet 2 is that the chip is a half-inch chip, which isn't large. I mean, your DSLR cameras and your mirrorless cameras are going to have larger chips than that, but it's you're getting close to, like, you know, more of like a cell phone sized chip. You know, the quality's getting much better these days, so it's worth looking into to upgrade your setup if you've had the same webcam for a while. The webcam I had was good for a while. Before that, I actually used my GH4, my Lumex, and I had an adapter where that would be my webcam, and it was quite good, but I went for ease of use, because my primary thing is making films, and what I try to do is like some promotional / educational stuff with my YouTube channel. I try to include stuff, hopefully this stuff is useful to independent filmmakers, either people who've been around a while. I'm basically just telling you what works and what doesn't, or if you're starting up, you know. So one of the cool things I wanted to mention is that recently there's a few things. Rhonda Shear, many of you probably know Rhonda Shear from her Up All Night series, basically got a new show through Kings of Horror. Here it is, yeah. So Rhonda Shear was a part of a TV show on USA Network called Up All Night, and it was Gilbert Gottfried, who's like, you know, the two of them together were incredible. Now, I think about a year ago, Greg from FanZcene had interviewed Rhonda Shear, and they were actually talking together about maybe teaming up on something. And so fast forward till now, Rhonda got her own show through Kings of Horror, and that name rang a bell. I was like, oh, Kings of Horror. And I was looking up, and one of my films, oh, we got a commercial here, and one of my films, love that logo. Look how cool that logo is, Kings of Horror. So in 2022-2023, I put out a feature-length horror film called Exorcism of Fleete Marish. And this was a film that John Gorman and I teamed up to make. And it was initially put out in 2012 under the title Mark of the Beast. And it had a sort of more of an adventure theme, an adventure score, and it was sort of this grainy color film. But it was a horror film, and it was a exorcism film, but it was called Mark of the Beast. So I decided to add a bunch of additional footage, and Tim Kulig did the whole score, and we basically redid the movie. So I would say it's like one step above it's a little beyond director's cut, in my opinion, because it's so much different. And it's constructed different, and like I said, there's different footage in it. And so one of the cool things was that MVD distributed the film, which I think MVD is excellent. And we put it out, and MVD is an independent film company. You can have a label on there, and then you still own your own film, but you give them the ability to go around and sell to other markets. And that's the power of it. A label like that, they sell in bulk. So they go to Kings of Horror, and they might say, well, we have 200 horror films to choose from. Do you want to, select from there? And then you would get a cut of it. This is just how it works. It's much harder if you have just a small independent film and you're going directly to some of these distributors. You're probably not going to be able to go direct. You have to bulk. You have to put things together in bulk and sell. So that being said, Kings of Horror was a thing, a channel on YouTube, along with Horror Central. Let me go to my notes. Horror Central. And the truth is, when Mark of the Beast came out in 2012, it was at a really bad timing. Like, the video stores were nosediving, and streaming hasn't really matured. So there was so little money in the market. So we put out a DVD of it, and it went nowhere. Film lost a bunch of money, and we all lost money on it. And so I decided to go back and start from scratch and re-edit the whole thing fresh, and we put it out, and it was more like I wanted to put it out the way that I think it should have been put out in the first place. We had so many limitations, time limitations, technical limitations, in post-production, all that stuff. This is really the film I wanted to put out. And so at the time, I don't think we didn't do black and white because the distributors were we do not want to deal with black and white at the time. And for a small film like this. And so we went with this kind of color grading, this kind of tobacco hue color grading and all this stuff, and audience complained about the grainy image and stuff like that. So anyway, so fast forward to now, this came out in Horror Central 2 years ago, and then King of Horrors just last year. It premiered on King of Horror, and it continues to premiere on these new streaming sites. And on a few of them, it was called one of the best horror films of 2025. On one of the sites, and then Movie Central. I think on Movie Central it was branded that way. And then Indie Flicks called this like one of Debbie Rochon's masterclass in acting and stuff. So if we look here, we have 175,000 views just on this one Horror Central station, and so across just YouTube, it's over 250,000, and then it's also on like Fossum and Indie Flicks and Tubi and a half a dozen other places. It's probably 500,000 to a million people have seen it now, and so this goes to show that like a film can have a second life. It can have kind of like a rebirth, and people might appreciate it. They might not get it like maybe there was just a glut of horror back then and they didn't really care. But, fast forward to 2024, 2025, and for some reason, I think people are appreciating it a lot more, and a lot more eyeballs are getting onto it. So, it just goes to show you, I never gave up on this film, and there does come a time where you do need to put down a project and start something new. You can't dwell in the past all the time. But a lot of the times what happens is I'll put out a film and it's all delivered, it's all set, and there's just like a gap between when it's released, and then I need a project to work on. And so then I will try to dust off an old feature film that I directed and try to go back and do it, to recut it or something like that. Not in a Spielbergian way where I'm like removing the guns and putting flashlights in it, but more just cleaning up stuff and things like that. So and also, what I do also is I still offer the original film everywhere. Mark of the Beast is still available, So, this was cool. you know. So this was a $6,000 horror feature film. Had Debbie Rochon, Ellen Muth, and Maggie Champagne from the Amy Schumer show, Inside Amy Schumer. So it with Dick Bullen and Phil Hall and a lot of other cool, Mark Bovino and a lot of other really cool people. So Lee Radzwan did the horror effects. Sherry Lynn was in it and produced. Lots of other people. Greg Kistner, Isaiah Entua, Aaron Seiler. I don't know. I think I got most people in there. Chi Labassiere. Anyone who's been watching my YouTube channel knows in the past 6 months I've really gone hard into the film festival circuit. That's been primarily the content I've created is talking about independent filmmakers entering film festivals. So you kind of have to be a little interested in this stuff, and I think any filmmaker should be interested in the film festival circuit, because the film festival circuit there's over 14,000 film festivals. This is a number that Film Freeway will list, over 14,000 film festivals. So it's very large. When you're trying to put out an independent film, if you're like on your own label as your own distribution company, you want to try to make an impact. One of the ways you can do that is by entering film festivals. Now, the top film festivals in the world, there's slim percentages that you'll get into these. It doesn't mean you don't try. As a matter of fact, we're waiting to hear back from Slam Dance, Rain Dance, Dances with Films, and I think there's one other top one we're waiting. And so, and we entered another handful of those kind of top festivals. We entered Popcorn Frights, which we didn't get into. We entered Fantasia, CineQuest, I don't think we got into, a number of them. So that was the top in the world. And Doc NYC didn't take our film, which was weird because there's like Kim's Video in it, and it's very much a New York story, and there's a whole CUNY connection, and yeah, I don't know why they didn't take it. But so the other thing about these top festivals too is there's only like the pie gets eaten up by a number of things. Now, most of these are financial enterprises. They're corporations, they're private, they're money making. And so there are sponsors. So the sponsors require a certain type of film that is going to be amenable, I guess, to what they're selling, and not go against what they're selling. Okay, so a film festival might be compromised in what they take in regard to how extreme it is or whatnot. A festival might be compromised because of pressure from the studio system. Some large film festivals are just simply part of the studio system. You're fully funded and sponsored by that. So in result, most of the slots in that pie would be taken up directly by studio films, and then a certain amount of censorship because of corporate pressure. So that leaves films that are being pushed by large agencies. They're very powerful, incredibly powerful and large agencies, not only producers reps, but talent agents and those kind of agencies that will really push hard to get their film into a festival. And that won't be based upon that'll be them trying to survive as an agency and make money and get their talent placed, get that film sold. And so there's a corporate bias for that. So what that leaves is a very small slice of the pie. And the slice of the pie is films that they take that were directly submitted from places like Film Freeway and stuff like that. Now, if you look very carefully at some of the film festival, I'm just going to put this up for a second. If you look very carefully at some of the film festival descriptions, some will brag or some will have information about how many films they take from submissions. And that's a serious problem. It's admirable when they brag about it. Like some festivals say, hey, over 80% of our films come from submissions. And you'd think, why not 100? And it's because of all those other interests, right? Some won't disclose that number at all, because that number, in a lot of cases, can be almost zero, depending on the size of the film festival. So that's something to take into account. A film festival that's been going on for 5 or 10 years, I don't even consider that small anymore. Obviously, it's more of a medium thing because they've been around for a while. So you almost want to say new festivals and then medium and then large, and then top. So, but new festivals are good. Look out for those because you might have a chance of getting them because they're not hounded by entries typically on the first year. Which brings me to this concept of qualifying film festivals. Now, the goal with Video Dreams, a VHS Massacre story, our latest documentary feature about trying to get on the shelf at Blockbuster Video and what to do when your dreams fall apart. I think it's a really kind of touching doc, and I hope you do too if you see it. But our goal is to screen in 40 major cities. Maybe even 50 major cities. And so that when we hit streaming, then it's successful. And frankly, I just want to screen and for it to look, decent screen and for there to be, a dozen people in the audience, that's fine, So that's better than some Hollywood films. Anyway, so that's our goal with that. But there's this other thing too. This striving to go higher. And so that brings into this concept of qualifying film festivals, which I recently got fascinated by. I wasn't really into this 5 years ago, but we entered around, at this point, 105 film festivals, which is really interesting in itself. And some of them, maybe about 10 of them, were quote, quote, qualifying festivals. Now, what does that mean? Well, certain film festivals are Academy Award qualifying. Now, it means that if your film got into that festival, and it won, it could be put into the pool to be nominated. So, in a sense, just being in that festival is kind of, screening at that festival is kind of the next best thing to being nominated. Kind of. You could say, well, it would be if you were in consideration, But I would say that would be the next best thing to getting nominated for Academy Award is if you're playing an Academy Award qualifying film festival. Now, this is not the only place that they pull films to be considered for the Academy Award. Studio System can directly put their films and advertise and make a campaign to try to get their film into that pool without really going through the festival circuit, though. It's not a direct portal, these qualifying festivals, and I'll get into why. But some of these qualifying festivals, the main ones that I see, and I think this is kind of maybe the 4 major ones, is obviously the Oscars, the Academy Award, the BAFTA, the British Academy Film and Television Awards. That's their Academy Award. And the Canadian Screen Award is their Academy Award in Canada. There's also the British Independent Film Awards, which in the United Kingdom is one of the other large award bodies. In the United States, the equivalent probably is Indie Spirit. I don't want to say Golden Globe. different. But yeah, probably Indie Spirit is maybe an equivalent. But in Britain, I think the BIFA is actually more important than Indie Spirit, and I'll get into why. Those are 4 ones. There's other ones. There's this thing called the Independent Documentary Association. Those don't tend to really have qualifier. They have soft relationships with certain film festivals. Doc NYC has some kind of relationship with the Independent Documentary Awards. Indie Spirit Awards in America has some relation to like Hot Docs and South by Southwest, but oddly not the top one. Not Doc NYC, not Sundance. They just have these weird, I guess, legacy associations with certain film festivals. So those are not direct qualifiers. So I'm going to stick with these 4. So now you on Film Freeway you can actually look. Let's see. I'll bring this up real quick. I think we'll go to Browse. Look at this. Academy Award BAFTA qualifying awards. See, this is interesting. If you made a small independent film, it'd be fun probably to enter a few of these. It's still, you're still dreaming big and you're grasping for the stars, But hopefully I've kind of given you some statistical reality of getting into these. But that being said, I'm entering them too. So I'm doing the same thing. Okay, so there's also this Film Alliance thing. That's just a collection. I don't know enough about it. I kind of have mixed feelings about this association, and I hope it's not slowly trying to corporatize and gatekeep. I don't know if that's true, and if it's not true, I'm sorry, but I'm not sure about this. There's trending now in the spotlight, most popular, top 100, luminaries, visionaries, doc, horror. See, this is really cool. They're separated. You can do quick things like that. Deals. Check out the deals, actually. There's some good stuff in there. All right. We're going to go to this. And so you can see there's quite a number of this, like CineQuest. So we entered that. Oh, okay. So we're waiting to hear back from them. But there's ones... Like, who would think in the Palace International Film Festival will be Academy Award qualifying? I had no idea. Abbott's Film Festival. Bolton is BAFTA. Short of the Week, Canadian Screen Award. Slamdance were entered into Ann Arbor. So it goes on and on, right? So this is kind of fun, right? For me, it's fun. It's like, dreaming big and entering a few of these things. Okay. So, now, you might be asking, okay, Tom, have you ever gone into one of these festivals that are qualifiers? And the answer is yes. The Vancouver Horror Show, we won Best Documentary there a few years back. And that is a Canadian Screen Award qualifying film festival. Now, does that mean we get put into the pool of the Canadian Screen Awards and can be at their Academy Awards? No, because it's because I made an American film and it's funded in America. So no. Now, I get bragging rights of saying I won at a film festival that is Canadian Screen Award qualifying, That was actually the year they got qualified. They look at the films that year, and then they got the status, after that. So to me, that was like pretty awesome. Okay, what about BAFTA? Not yet. Have not gotten BAFTA qualifying. But we recently did get into the Spirit of Independence in the United Kingdom, a British Independent Film Award qualifying festival. So we were a film that was played on the closing night in a BFA qualifying festival. Now, this was a huge honor. This was like, again, it's not a British film, right? Video Dreams is not a British film, so it actually can't win a BIFA award. So this is kind of the next best thing. If you're making an American film, screening on the closing night, pretty close to the best you can get for close to the BFA, and saying creating Canadian Screen Award, winning there, the kind of the best you can get. Okay, so Academy Award, no, I didn't. I didn't get into that. But here is the interesting thing about some of these Academy qualifying film festival. Okay, so we went over. Yeah. Okay. Let's talk about BAFTA for a second. A U.S. feature-length documentary playing in a BAFTA qualifying film festival does not automatically qualify for BAFTA consideration. To even be eligible, I would need a separate theatrical run in the United Kingdom, and that would be the real qualifier. British Independent Film Awards, strictly British-funded films, so we're out there. Canadian Screen Awards. Even though there are U.S. festivals like World Fest Houston, that's another thing. We also won at World Fest Houston the top award. We won a Platinum Remy. That is so that's the third one of these top award qualifying festivals I've been a part of. But the qualification only applies if you're Canadian. Okay, so we're out there. That leaves the Oscars, and so you have to read the fine print. Braindance in the United Kingdom is an Academy qualifier only for short films, not features. Other film festivals like Cleveland International, which we're entered into, takes both features and shorts. So Cleveland, in theory, very long shot, but if we were to get in Video Dreams with Cleveland, somehow win, then yeah, I think we would be in the pipeline. It doesn't mean you're going to make the top nomination, but again, this is wonderful bragging rights, to get into one of these film festivals. And they brand this kind of stuff is branded everywhere. Academy qualifying, BFA qualifying. So you can be sure I will brand my stuff with Academy Award qualifying film festival, BFA qualifying. So here, let's go down here. So anyway, I thought that was a fun exploration, and it's something to consider that, if you've made the film and you're trying to figure out what to do with it, the film festival circuit is something to do. I've only really taken the film festival circuit in the past 10 years, and in those 10 years, I think I've won about 60 awards. Career-wise, it's much higher, 70, 80, maybe 80, 90. I don't know. I'd have to go back. Because I remember being like a teenager winning at the Connecticut Screening Room for a movie I did called Money Run and Kick the Corpse. I know I won 2 awards there. Throat Jack won 1. And then as you go up through the years, I've done so many films. Not to brag, that's to say the only way you win awards is to enter awards. And in recent years, I've spent less on my films than I did on my film festival run. And so it's something to consider if you saved up money to make your film, finish it and polish it, make it the best possible version you can, and then try to go in with a partner. Maybe if you spend $1,000 a piece, you can enter 30 or 40. You can find deals. Sign up for the gold account on Film Freeway that will get you discounts on every festival. And then, under the deals, let's look at deals. You'll find stuff. I entered this one, Cannes Film Awards. I just thought it looked cool. Look at this one, 70% off East Village, New York. There's lots of cool ones to consider, you know. So, yeah. Let me look up this for a second. Okay, this is just an update for the film festival tour of Video Dreams. It's the Torino Underground Film Festival is, what is today's date? Yeah, it ends today. I mean, the turnouts are just awesome. Day 10, that's the last day. Yeah, I mean, this is the Torino Underground Cinefest is the largest underground film festival in Italy, and only really comparable maybe to Chicago Underground. So it was a tremendous honor screening at Torino Underground Cinefest. Super exciting. And so that's finished up. Now, Phantasmagoria. That's another one coming up. We are screening. Let's see. Doors open. Where are we? Video Dreams. There we go. Sunday, October 5th. Phantasmagoria Film Festival, Wrexham, Wales. That's the premiere there. Very excited about that. The venue looks cool. It's this big hall that it looks like an awesome independent film festival. That's the kind of festival you want to be at, where the community is getting together and they're screening films. CineXS, October 20th is we're screening there. That's kind of the biggest genre film festival. Well, in the United Kingdom, the two big ones are CineXS and Fearfest. CineXS has a little more swagger because there's an academic edge to it, and it's tied into one of the universities there, and so we were included to screen there. That was a huge honor. That was like a deep relief that our film could get to a higher level with the film festival circuit. So it's an honor. We'll see there. Bare Bones. Bare Bones is a festival I've been entering since 2001, I think. Our first 16mm feature film won an award there in 2001. Mike Oransky and I won Auteur of the Year. I've never forgot about these guys. Muskogee, Oklahoma. They used to turn the whole town into a film festival. It was really beautiful. It's like a little park city. I loved it. Red Rose, Pennsylvania, playing at a beautiful Penn Cinemas, a big theater. They're using a digital cinema package that I just delivered them. The movie's going to look gorgeous on the big theater. Tri-Cities Film Festival in Washington, a big win for us. We got Best Documentary, and the film's going to screen, I think it's November 7th through the 9th. And then this other one, Synesthesia in Portugal. Unsure yet. We're going to figure out what's, they're going to announce it as it comes closer. So, that's kind of the update. Yeah, you can do it. If you're in the documentary space, you absolutely can do it. Documentaries. You can be a weekend warrior, shoot interviews on the weekend, shoot it over 6 months or a year, edit it over 6 months or a year, put it out. You could do the same thing with a horror film. I recommend the 11-day shoot. That means you take 1 week off from work and you shoot the weekend, the Monday through Friday, any other weekend. That's 9 days, right? Yeah. And then a month later, you plan for pickup shots, anything you desperately need. And so technically 10 days, but really, 9 days, then 1 day. You can do it. You can do it for a couple grand. Just put your money into making sure you feed the crew and making sure you have good horror makeup effects. And then the rest, it's good, Or like a bad horror movie is almost as good as a good horror movie. Don't be afraid to make bad movies. I made a number of them. It's okay, just keep going. All right. Anyway, thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.